What up, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. Thanks for rocking with me. I do appreciate it, especially those of you who always give likes and comment when you choose to do so. I appreciate it. I believe it helps. Nobody really knows for sure, but everybody does it. So thank you. I'm riding around, and a lot of times I think about different things that go on in our society, and I think about particularly the black community because that's what that's where my roots are, is the black community. So I do a lot of thinking about things that go on in the black community, and I think a lot about how do we get to a particular place. And what I want to talk about on this video, it does not relate, I would say it do relate to us all, but I think that it is a small percentage that is affecting the masses. One of the things that I think about is how, in a small percentage of the black community, more the poverty level type thinking, it seems that we have a decreased value of life. We already know that we take each other out at a very high rate. It's like 70-80% of black men that are unalive, maybe even higher, but the last time I looked, it was like high 80% is unalive at the hands of another black man, one that looked just like him. That's a high rate. And I think about how it seems that we just don't have any respect for life anymore. Again, this is a small segment, but it affects us as a community as well. You get in a road rage with one of us, you're liable to lose your life. You look at one of us the wrong way, you're liable to lose your life. You say something that we don't want to hear, you're liable to lose your life. You get into a confrontation that years ago would have just been a regular fight, and somebody would have showed up the next day with a knot on their forehead and what they call a shiner, a black eye, they call it a shiner. Do that today, you're liable to lose your life. Any little thing that really you don't need nothing more than just a good, strong conversation and maybe a mediator to handle. All of a sudden now, you can lose your life over it. We're taking each other out at a high rate. These things are not talked about. These things are not really discussed. We kind of see it. If it don't affect us, we kind of move on. Then we see it on, we hear it in the news or whatever, and then people get concerned for a little while, and then we go on to something else. Because as long as it's within the black community, nobody really says anything. Now, if the outsider comes in and messes with one of us, we're going to get riled up. We're not going to like it. We're going to stand up. We're gonna fight the power. We're gonna have a cause to stand for or something like that. But as long as if we're taking each other out within, for the most part, it seemed like don't nobody really, we ain't really too concerned. But I was thinking about things that are affecting or could potentially be affecting why we value life so low. This is just my thought. On one hand, you have the young men, because it's generally in the younger generation that are taking each other out. Loss of life. But something that has been going on for a long time that we really don't discuss, and I want to talk about this and relate it to if we believe in energy or not. For those of us who believe in energy, you talk about vibrations, the law of attraction, that what you think, what you feel, and then what you act on all comes together to be your vibration or your vibe. So your thoughts give off energy, your emotions give off energy, your actions give off energy. When you put all those together, you have your vibration. Vibration goes out, if you believe this, vibration goes out into the universe and comes back to you. So in essence, what you give out is what you will receive. If you believe in the law of attraction, that's the essence of it. That's why it's not about what you say you want, but it's what you are. Okay, you gotta get a lot of people say they want this, but if you're not that, that can't come back to you. You'll end up in the same cycle. So you have to become before you can get what you want. You give off what you are. Now think about this. And y'all let me know in the comments. In the black community, the unaliving of I don't, how can I say it for YouTube? When you can go down to the clinic and have something unalive before it gets here. Y'all know what I'm talking about. To avoid having children. We are doing that as a race in America over 700 times a day. 700 times per day. One of us, obviously one of the women, is going to have a deletion 700 times a day. 50% of those who go down to have it done has already had at least one done already. So let's run some numbers and let's just see what's really going on. In America, black people represent about 13% of the population. Of that 13%, 7% is black women. Of the 13, 7% is black women. In America, almost half of all of those deletions that start with an A, almost half is done by black women in America. Almost half of all deletions are done by black women. We lead the race by far in deletions at between 7 to 800 a day. Now, if that is a vibration that goes out, that's what I want you to think about. If that is a thought that got into your emotions and then it turned into an action and that person went down and had the deletion done. And we're doing that as a community 750 times a day. What do we think is going to come back to us for the decision that we made to do that? Is it possible? I'm just throwing it out there. Is it possible that the devaluation of life is our reward for not valuing life in the first place? Because like I said, on one hand, you have the young ones taking each other out, in mostly males, and on the other hand, you have females taking out their unborn. What do we think the reward or the get back for that energy really is? And when you look up the reasons that they say they want to have that deleted, when you look up the main reason, it's all irresponsible reasons. The number 1, 2, and 3 reasons that they gave is a child would interfere with their career, a child would interfere with them being able to go to school or college, and they cannot afford the child, and they did not want to be a single parent. Which all of those things do make sense because children will affect all of those things. So don't get me wrong. A child is going to affect my work and my career. It's going to affect me going to school. I don't want to be a single parent, and I can't afford a child. All of those things are legit. But what I want to bring to the table and present is we knew that before we acted. We knew we could not afford a child before we acted. We knew that a child would affect us being able to go to school. It would affect our career. It would affect our work. We knew before we act. This didn't just jump up on us. It didn't catch us by surprise. We knew what could potentially happen, and we were irresponsible. And then when we got pregnant, and I'm saying we because it's the man and the woman, when we got pregnant, then we made a decision that this is going to be an inconvenience for me. And science has made it possible to take care of an inconvenience that you was irresponsible for. And we feel that there are no repercussions for that action. Is it possible that the energy that we put out comes back to us in the form of having a lower value of life? And to me, it's also going to affect our relationships. To me, and I'm not judging nobody that has had them. The majority of my friends have had, well, at least half of my friends have had that I know of, have had at least one, and some have had more than one. So I'm not judging nobody. I'm just throwing it out there for us to chit chat about it if we can. Is it possible if we're taking out 800, almost 800 a day, 20 million since the early 70s, all of those potential thinking professors, doctors, lawyers, life changers that will not be in existence because of a choice that we made based on irresponsibility. Now I know that there's a small percent that something tragic went on. I get but that's like 10%. That's not the majority of the reason why they're doing it. The majority of the reason why they're doing it is they do not want the inconvenience of the child, even though they knew what could potentially happen. And we are putting, before they even have a chance to get here, children that could potentially have been life changers for not only the black community, but for our nation and possibly the world as well. So if we believe in energy, that our actions go out and they bring back something as a people, is it possible that this is our reward? Is it possible, as I have said in another video about something else, that this is the chickens coming home to roost because we have shown that we do not value life? So we will not value life. Let's talk about it in the comments. Y'all got it? Bye.